Hi everyone, it's me Spring, the fiber enthusiast. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be making this small toddler to large infant size beanie. And it is done with a pattern that you actually cannot see real well with this color. But at any rate, I'm going to go over the 4-round repeat, and I'm going to be doing it in a solid so that way you can actually see the pattern that happens within those repeats. You can kind of see some. If I hold it just right, you can kind of see the angles. So let's go ahead and get started. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Daramore's Studio Anti-Pilling DK 50-gram ball, and this color is color mustard. And you're going to need to cast on a total of 72 stitches. This pattern is worked in multiples of 18. So what I have done here is I have created 10 rounds of 1x1 ribbing. So knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, all the way around for 10 rounds. And in doing so, I have set up for the pattern itself, which is every 18 stitches, I placed a stitch marker. So there's 4 sections within these 72 stitches of 18 stitches. So now let's go ahead and start with round 1. I will do the repeat twice with you, and you can finish the other 2 repeats of each round. So let's begin. Round 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, purl 1. We're going to do that repeat one more time together, and then you can finish the next 2 repeats. Slip your stitch markers as you come to them, and we're going to begin again. Knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, purl 1. So you're just going to repeat that 2 more times around to reach the beginning of your round. So 2 more repeats, 1 here and 1 here. And I will meet up with you at the end of round 1, and we will begin round 2. Once you have made it back around to the beginning, we will start round 2. Round 2 begins with purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, 1, 2, purl 2, 1, 2, knit 2, 1, 2, purl 1, knit 2, 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 2, and purl 2. Slip your stitch marker as you come to them, and we'll do that repeat one more time together. Purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 2, 1, 2, purl 1, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1, 2, and purl 1, 2. Go ahead and continue around, finishing the last 2 repeats of the round by yourself, and we will meet back up and start round 3. Okay, so now let's begin the repeat for round 3. Purl 1, knit 2, 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1 and 2, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and purl 2. We'll do that repeat one more time. Purl 1, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, 3, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2. Go ahead and continue with that repeat around to the end, and I will meet up with you to do the repeats for round 4. Okay, let's begin round 4. This is the last of your 4-round repeat. So purl 1, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1, 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 1, 2, purl 2, 1, 2, and knit 1, 2. Slip that stitch marker, and we'll do that repeat again. Purl 1, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1, 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, knit 1, 2. Go ahead and continue around doing that repeat 2 more times, and I will meet up with you at the end of the round. Okay, so I finished making my round on round 4, and just as a side note, I'm using a 4.5 millimeter US 7 for this hat, and again, the weight of the yarn is double knit. So that's what I'm making the hat in, and I repeated those 4 rounds until the body of my hat, so the pattern section of the hat, was roughly 3 inches laid flat. So you can go ahead and work those 4 rounds until you have approximately 3 inches, give or take, ending with round 4. And then we will come back together and finish up the hat by doing the top and call it good. I'll be back when I'm at that point. Okay, so once we have made it through the body of our hat, we need to start decreasing. And again, I will show you my measurements here. So from my needle, there we are, get it somewhat level. From my needle to where I ended the brim, we're right at about 3 inches. And then total, we're at right about 4.5 inches total. Okay, so for the next step, you're going to need a few extra stitch markers potentially, if that's how you so choose. I do, just because it makes it easier and pretty mindless. I don't really have to count once I have the stitch markers in place. So what we're going to do is break these 18 stitches sections into 2 sections. So you're going to knit 9. And once you have knit 3, 6, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches, that's when you're going to place another stitch marker. And again, you don't have to do this. It just makes it easier and less counting. Now we're going to knit to the next stitch marker, which is 9 stitches. And you're going to continue that all the way around, so that way you have 9 stitches now between each of your stitch markers. And just kind of, you know, double check to make sure that that's where you stand. Now's your chance. 3, 6, 9. Slip the stitch marker as you come to it, and then once again we're going to knit 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm going to place another stitch marker, and so on and so forth. Continue working around to the end, placing 1 stitch marker every 9 stitches, and I will meet back up with you for the next round. Okay, so for round 2 of our decreasing section at the top of the hat, Here's what you do next. We're going to knit 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now what you'll have is 2 stitches left before your stitch marker. Knit 2 together. And that is your repeat around. Transfer that stitch marker and knit to the last 2 stitches before your next stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You should have 2 stitches left, and knit those 2 together. Continue that repeat around. Okay. So the next round is round 3, and you will knit all stitches all the way around. So alternating rounds, you knit all stitches. The opposite rounds, you're going to be knitting your decrease round. So rounds 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, you knit all the way around. On your even rows, you're going to be knitting a decrease round. So I'm on round 3, which is a knit all the way around. Odd numbers, knit all the way around. Even numbers, knit to the last 2 and knit those 2 together. At some point during your decreases, you're going to run out of enough room to work around your circulars. If you're working on a small set of circulars, you'll have to switch over to the magic loop knitted style, or you're going to have to switch to your DPNs. When I get to that point, I will come back and show you how to do that. So for this round, I'm going to just simply knit all stitches, round 3. And on round 4, I will do another decrease round. Okay, so I have completed round 3. Round 4, we're going to knit over to the last 2 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the last 2 stitches before the stitch marker, and knit those 2 together. These decreasing rounds will be the same every time. You will knit to the last 2 stitches before your stitch marker and decrease by 1 stitch by knitting 2 together. So we'll do that one more time. Knit to your last 2 stitches, which is 6 stitches over. And then knit those last 2 stitches together. So that's just a refresher as to how to work a decreasing round. I'm going to continue going around decreasing for round 4, and then I will knit all stitches for round 5. Okay, so for round 6 is another decrease round, and here is your repeat. You're going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knit 2 together. That is your repeat for round 6. On round 7, I will be switching over to the magic loop, so a longer cord, and I will show you how to do that on round 7. One more time on repeat for round 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knit 2 together. Continue around and I will meet up with you for round 7, where we'll transfer over to our larger cord circular needles, or if you're using DPNs, you won't have to do anything different. Okay, for round 7, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my longer cord circular needles. And I like to do it on a round that is knit all stitches, so that way I don't have to keep up with where I'm decreasing and where I'm not decreasing as much. So what you're going to want to do is count the number of stitch markers you have and divide them evenly. So the first half of your stitches goes on, and then we move our cord through those stitches and work the second half of our stitches on our hat. So for this particular hat, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to slip our first stitch marker, which is our starting stitch marker, and we're going to knit to the 4th stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up in my right needle. I'm going to pull it up so that way it's secure and not going to fall out as I'm going. So I'm going to start by knitting to my 4th stitch marker. When you've reached your 4th stitch marker, you will drop that stitch marker. Again, if you're using DPNs, also known as double pointed needles, you will not need to take this step. So that's 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3 sections. We need one more section on here. 1 more little section. Okay, so including my starting stitch marker, I now have 4 stitch markers on my needle that I've just knitted to, which here's the 4th one. I'm going to drop this one. And now I pull my cable all the way in, turn my work over, and we're going to work the second half of those stitches now. Before I lose this stitch marker, I'm going to set it out of the way for now. So now I have the first half on the back side, and now we're going to work the second half on this side. So we have a loop in between. Just transfer your stitch markers as you come to them. Okay, now that we are off our smaller circular, I'm going to place my beginning stitch marker back on and turn my work over. And now I need to push them stitches down onto the cable. Get everything situated for you to see. So we have 3 stitch markers on the front, 3 stitch markers on the back, and our starting stitch marker on our right side. Now what you're going to do is, the front is the side that you're working on. You're going to push that up onto your needle, your front needle. And this is a decreasing round. Once you have it up onto your needle into a working position, you're going to take that back needle and pull it out. And now we'll have a loop on both sides of our work. Now we're going to start our first decrease round on our magic loop, which is round 8. And you're going to do the same exact thing as we did before. We're going to knit to those last 2 stitches before our stitch marker and knit 2 together. So we're knitting 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. Slide your stitch marker over, knit 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, slide your stitch marker over, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, slide your stitch marker over, and the last little section, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit those last 2 together. Okay, so now we got to do exactly what we did to begin with. Turn your work over, pull that front needle to your stitches, and the back needle out of the stitches. Slide those stitches up on top of your needle. That way they're ready to be worked. And you now have a loop on both sides. And we're going to finish this decrease round together. 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. Slip your stitch marker, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, slide your stitch marker, one, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, slide your stitch marker, and the last little bit here, 2, 3, 4, and knit those last 2 together. Then you're going to transfer your starting stitch marker, just like that. Turn your work over, and again, you're going to do the same thing. Pull your back needle through and push those stitches up onto your front needle. Into a working position. Now you're just going to knit all stitches for round 9, and you're going to do it exactly the way we just did. Round 10 is a decrease round. Round 11 is a knit round. And I will meet you back for round 12. Okay, so round 12 is going to be our last decreasing round. I'm going to drop my stitch markers as I come to them. So knit 1, 2, knit 2 together. That's the repeat for round 12. And I'm just going to start removing stitch markers as I come to them. Switch sides. Okay, so once you have completed round 12, we are going to take off of our needles. And at this point, you're going to need a needle to sew in your ends and a pair of scissors to cut your tails. So you're going to want to cut approximately an 8 to 10 inch tail. That way we can sew in all these stitches around the top. So I'm going to go ahead and lace up my, you can use a darning needle, whichever suits you. Okay, now once again, we're going to just slide them stitches up onto our front needle. And how I remove these stitches is knit wise. We just finished a decrease round, so this would be a knitting round. So from a knitted stitch style is how I remove my stitches from my knitting needles to my darning needle. So from left to right. Just picking them stitches up and sliding them right off. Just like that. Now I'm going to slide my tail up into those stitches. Turn my work over and do the other side. Same way, just gonna knit them off. Slip them as if to knit, should I say. Okay, we're off our needles and on our darning needle. Go ahead and pull your tail all the way through. Now, before I cinch up the hole in the center, I'm going to insert my needle down to the inside and turn my hat inside out. Now I will cinch up the center. This way, my needle and tail are already on the inside. And I can start closing it up from the inside. I'm just going to work my needle and thread, needle and yarn through a few of them stitches that we just pulled off. And now I'm going to start crisscrossing. And this is how I do it. If you have a way that works best for you, please, by all means, do so. This is just how I feel confident that it's going to be okay. And once you're comfortable with how you have your tail sewed in, you can cut away from your hat. And sew in your beginning tail. Once you have all of them sewed in, you now have your completed child's hat. Just like such. So there you go. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial on the child's knitted hat with a little bit of a pattern to it. There you go. This yarn is just a hair heavier than that yarn is. So I'm going to go ahead and finish sewing in this starting tail, and I will be done with this hat completely, and look forward to the matching cowl to this in an upcoming video. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please let me know down in the comments section and give me that thumbs up, please, and thank you. Until next time, everyone, be blessed, be a blessing, and bye for now.